Welcome back to our channel. Today we're embarking on a fascinating journey through the pages of SPQR, A History of Ancient Rome by Mary Beard. This book takes us deep into the heart of Rome, from its legendary founding to the dramatic assassination of Julius Caesar and beyond. We'll explore how Rome's history has shaped our modern world, from politics and culture to language and law. So grab your toga and let's dive into the ancient world of Rome together. To summarize the book in one sentence, you could say it's about the rise and fall of ancient Rome, exploring its political intrigue, cultural achievements, and the evolution of Roman citizenship from the Republic through the Empire, culminating in the universal grant of citizenship by Emperor Caracalla in 212 CE. Across these chapters, we witness the evolution of Rome from its legendary origins to the far-reaching implications of imperial rule. We begin with the sweeping vision offered in the prologue, which shows that Rome's influence endures not just in the remnants of its architecture and artifacts, but in modern political and cultural frameworks. The assassination of Julius Caesar features as a defining historical moment, often invoked as a cautionary tale about power and tyranny. We see too that Rome's legacy is grounded in discoveries both archaeological and textual, a reminder that even small fragments of ancient life can reshape our understanding of the past. Moving into the 1st century BCE in Chapter 1, the tension in 63 BCE erupts around the conspiracy of Catiline, who aimed to topple Rome's governance and wipe out debts. At the heart of the crisis stands the orator Cicero, a skilled politician who exposed Catiline's plot and by sheer rhetorical force galvanized the Senate to act. This year of near disaster captures how Roman politics could balance on a knife's edge, with power plays intensifying as the Republic struggled to maintain stability. Amid these threats, we get glimpses of a Rome that is both massive in territory and intimately recorded, thanks to the survival of letters, speeches, and historical accounts. Chapter 2 shifts focus to the symbolic and mythological importance of sacred landmarks, like the Temple of Jupiter Stator. We learn that Romulus, Rome's foundational figure, purportedly invoked Jupiter's divine help in a dire battle against the Sabines. According to legend, that vow led to the establishment of a temple that would forever memorialize the city's resilience. Later, Cicero's decision to convene the Senate there, while dealing with Catiline, was no accident. It was a conscious act of political theater that likened Cicero's vigilance to Romulus's heroic steadfastness. From here, the narrative explores the myth of Romulus and Remus, whose improbable story helped define Roman identity, no matter how much later generations questioned its historical accuracy. In Chapter 3, the focus turns to a remarkable archaeological find under the Forum's Black Stone, an ancient inscription containing the word rex, meaning king. Even though the text is fragmentary and in archaic Latin, its discovery confirms that Rome did indeed have kings before the Republic, validating early stories of monarchy. This evidence complicates the 19th century scholars' skepticism, which had dismissed many kingly legends as pure fabrication. Coupled with Livy's accounts, the inscription provides a glimpse of the monarchy's hold on Roman collective memory, both as a cautionary period ended by the tyranny of Tarquinius Superbus and as a foundational prologue to the Republic. Chapter 4 pushes deeper into the question of how Rome transitioned from kingship to a republican system. Far from being smooth or instantaneous, the shift was marked by fits and starts, with offices such as chief praetor and dictator coexisting or overlapping. Later references to consuls appear on the tomb of Lucius Cornelius Scipio Barbatus, offering a rare contemporary snapshot of shifting power structures. This epitaph stands as a tangible reminder that the Republic's emergence was anything but a neat break from monarchy. Rather, it was a protracted reconfiguration of power, often accompanied by violence and upheaval. From there, Chapter 5 highlights the influence of the Scipio family, whose reputation hinges on military brilliance and patronage of literary culture. Scipio Africanus, famous for defeating Hannibal in the Second Punic War, personifies the height of Roman generalship. His descendant Scipio Aemilianus, who finally razed Carthage in 146 BCE, carried that legacy forward. Beyond warfare, the Scipios nurtured a cultural revolution, the adaptation of Greek literary forms into Latin, which established a tradition of Roman literature. Figures like Livius Andronicus, an early translator of Greek dramas, mark a vital confluence of cultural exchange that broadened Rome's intellectual horizons. That brutal conquest of Carthage, 146 BCE, is the primary topic of Chapter 6. We read of Roman forces, led by Scipio Aemilianus, subduing Carthage through a systematic siege that cut off supplies and culminated in widespread slaughter. The narrative underscores the atrocities committed on both sides and paints a picture of Carthage's last desperate days. Soon after, Corinth faced a similar fate under another Roman commander, Lucius Mummius Achaicus, whose treatment of Greek art and cultural artifacts signals Rome's complicated relationship with the people it conquered. Indeed, while the Romans sought to preserve Carthaginian knowledge at times, they also reveled in the destruction of enemy heritage, a paradox that would color Rome's image for centuries. Chapter 7 turns to 70 BCE, when Cicero prosecuted Gaius Verus for his scandalous governance of Sicily. The case exemplified the darker side of provincial rule: exploitation, corruption, and outright cruelty. Although Cicero may have exaggerated elements of Verus's crimes in his orations, the governor's guilt was never in serious doubt. By exposing the depth of Verus's theft and abuse, Cicero opened wider questions about the moral dilemmas inherent in Rome's expanding dominion. Provinces were subject to extraordinary exploitation, and though the Roman Republic prided itself on laws and systems, it often took high-profile trials like this one to remind the world, and Romans themselves, of the need for checks on power. By Chapter 8, we see that Rome's history is far from being defined solely by battles and political machinations. While the city grew into a sprawling power center that absorbed diverse peoples, many aspects of everyday life remained hidden from the historical record. Women, the poor, and slaves rarely featured in official narratives. That changes somewhat in the 1st century BCE, when sources like Cicero's private letters reveal how the elite also engaged in literature, philosophy, and personal concerns. These letters offer glimpses into social circles where alliances, rivalries, and personal ambitions shaped daily life as much as statecraft and war did. Reading them, we grasp that Rome was not just an empire of violence and grandeur, but also of intensely personal attachments and social entanglements. Chapter 9 revisits violence at the highest levels of power. Julius Caesar's assassination on the Ides of March, 44 BCE. The scene is chaotic. Caesar, stabbed in the Senate, the conspirators hoping to save the Republic from tyranny. The immediate aftermath saw confusion, fear, and frantic attempts to seize or steer public opinion. Antony's funeral oration inflamed passions, leading to riots and Caesar's impromptu cremation in the Forum. Though the conspirators were initially spared, Caesar's chosen heir soon arrived in Rome. That figure would become Octavian and later Augustus, forever altering Rome's political trajectory. This pivot from republic to principate is a stark reminder of how one violent act could unleash transformations that dwarfed the assassin's original aims. Chapter 10 shifts us forward in time to 41 CE and the assassination of Emperor Gaius, better known as Caligula. His story echoes many of the patterns seen earlier: an heir with lofty expectations, political intrigue that spirals out of control, and an emperor's brutal end at the hands of those who once propped him up. Caligula's downfall, like Caesar's, stemmed from fear among the ruling class that his eccentricities and absolute power were veering into tyranny. This event reminds us that in imperial Rome, the line between success and assassination could be perilously thin. In Chapter 11, attention turns to the daily contrasts in Roman life. On one hand, the opulence of the wealthy, and on the other, the squalor of the urban poor. Rich emperors and elites financed grand building projects, stadiums, theaters, public baths, to display their beneficence and their power. Pliny the Younger and Numidia Quadratilla, for instance, exemplified patrons who constructed impressive public works to cement their legacies. Yet even the well-off faced the discomforts of overcrowded, poorly planned cities. Luxury was sometimes frowned upon, but many Romans indulged in it anyway, revealing a tension between moralistic critiques of extravagance and an unquenchable desire for status symbols. Chapter 12 then illustrates Roman administration in action, specifically under Pliny the Younger, who governed Bithynia around 109 CE. His letters to Emperor Trajan show a man painstakingly seeking approval for each step, repairing roads, building aqueducts, and dealing with the province's Christian community. The execution of unrepentant Christians and the torture of slaves to uncover more believers highlights how precarious life could be for new religious sects. Trajan's somewhat irritable replies, cautioning against hunting down Christians too aggressively, underscore the delicate balance the emperor maintained between central control and the realities of local governance. Finally, Chapter 13 moves us closer to a major turning point in 212 CE, when Emperor Caracalla's edict extended Roman citizenship to all free inhabitants of the empire. This monumental decision erased the legal divide between conqueror and conquered, though not necessarily the social or economic ones. Historians debate Caracalla's motives, suspecting that his desire for inheritance taxes may have played a role. The grant nonetheless brought a millennia-long citizenship project to a climax, even if the resulting world was not one of multicultural harmony. In many ways, this decree marks both the zenith of Rome's imperial inclusivity and the beginning of its complex later transformations. Together, these chapters trace Rome's journey as it blends myth and history, monarchy and republic, war and cultural exchange. Through close-up episodes, from Cicero's legal battles to Caesar's assassination, from the destruction of Carthage to the expansions of citizenship, they illuminate how power was exercised, contested, and continually redefined. The book insists that Rome's story is never just about famous men or epic battles. Rather, it is the sum of political drama, social upheaval, cultural innovation, and personal ambition, all unfolding across centuries of staggering change. And there we have it. A journey through the rise and fall of one of history's most fascinating civilizations, ancient Rome. From its mythical beginnings with Romulus and Remus to the monumental decree by Emperor Caracalla, we've explored how Rome's legacy continues to shape our world today. The stories of Cicero, Julius Caesar, and the Scipio family remind us of the complexity of human ambition, the pursuit of power, and the quest for a lasting legacy. As we close this chapter on Rome, let's reflect on the lessons it teaches us about governance, culture, and the human condition. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into Roman history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more explorations into the past. What aspect of Roman history fascinates you the most? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, keep turning the pages of history and uncovering the stories that have shaped our world. Take care.